Hello, this is Ben119 and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be carrying on with our Pikmin 3 Deluxe 100% walkthrough. So if you missed the first episode, we basically did day 1. It was pretty much a tutorial day. And on this episode we're going to be doing day 2. So this is part 2 of 15, we're going to be doing it in 15 parts. And if you missed the first episode, I was just explaining about the game, what Pikmin is, what Pikmin can do. All different things about this game, the basics really. And this is a no spoiler let's play, so I won't spoil anything until I get to it. I'm gonna treat it as if you don't really know anything about Pikmin or about the story. I'll obviously mention certain colour Pikmin and enemies and stuff, but that's not really spoilers. I mentioned that there was 5 different colours in the story. That's not really a spoiler, because I didn't really mention like where you'd find them or how you would find them. We'll just get to that when we get to that. So, let's get into day number 2. So we're in a brand new area, Garden of Hope, and Garden of Hope is actually one of my favourite levels. It's probably my second favourite map. Thinking about it, it's probably my favourite map actually, especially in speedrunning. But this isn't a speedrun, this is a casual playthrough slash walkthrough. So in this episode, I will be showing you how to get through this area in one Pikmin day, because you have plenty of time, and I will be showing you where a lot of the secrets are and all the data files, for example. And we're just gonna have fun, we're just gonna collect everything. So we're gonna take out all our Pikmin, like so. We got 21 Pikmin. I think the least you can have is 20. I don't know why you'd have 20 though, because you will have collected everything on day 1. So yeah. Oh yeah, it just showed us a data file there. Sometimes it shows you data files even if you don't pick them up, it just shows you something that looks like a data file. If you missed the first episode, I also mentioned that I'm not reading out the text, but I am stopping so you can read it out, so you have plenty of time. So the first thing we're going to do today is collect some pellets and break down this wall and kill this first enemy over here. So it's Dwarf Bulborb. Now, it's the first enemy that can actually eat your Pikmin. But luckily you didn't eat anyone because we're good at the game. But if you're not very good, he might eat your Pikmin, so be careful, because unlike the Shearwigs or Grubs or whatever they're called on day 1, Bulborbs can actually eat your Pikmin. I'm talking about the same thing over and over. So we're basically carrying back a dead Bulborb, we're carrying back some pellets, and we're just growing Pikmin basically, because that's what we need more Pikmin. Because the more Pikmin we have, the more stuff we can get done. The limit, you can have 100 Pikmin on the field. If you have any more, it won't let them out. They can still breed in the onion. You can make more Pikmin through pellets and then you just stay in the onion, but you can only have 100 on the field. If you could have any more, it'd be a bit too overpowered. I know on the hardest difficulty you can only have 60 Pikmin on the field, but we're not playing on Spicy Spray mode at the moment. We're just playing on normal difficulty for the Let's Play. And as you can see, I've been using multitasking. I put 5 Pikmin on those bridge pieces, and I put all my other Pikmin on the other bridge pieces, and both piles are now done because of that. If I had done one at a time, it would have probably taken twice the amount of time, and yeah, it's just more efficient to do it that way. Now, I'm not speedrunning at the moment for this Let's Play. I'm not going to speedrun it, but at the same time, I'm not just going to go really slow. I am going to play through, like I said, in 15 Pikmin days, which I wouldn't say that's fast, but it's not slow either, 15 days. But I will mention where everything is, and when there is a fruit, I will always get the fruit the way it is intended. So, you don't need to worry about that, I won't use any glitches. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention nectar. So, as you saw, I flowered up my Pikmin. And if you're unsure what that does, basically the Pikmin run faster and they do more attack damage to enemies, so it's important to get as many as you can flowered up, because then you will be better at fighting and doing tasks. It's just a nice little thing that they can do. When I first started playing Pikmin, I always thought that it was a bit pointless and I never really bothered with it, but ever since I always flower my Pikmin up whenever I can. It does make quite a big difference, believe it or not. So again, doing 2 things at once, we're breaking down a wall with half our Pikmin and the other half are carrying this Bulborb back and these pellets. I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but you can make more Pikmin from enemies as well. and depending on the enemy you get more Pikmin. I'm not 100% sure on how many Pikmin you get from each enemy, but the bigger the enemy, the more Pikmin you get basically, or how hard the enemy is to kill. I know with bosses you get 50 Pikmin per boss, but there's only 5 bosses, so yeah. There's a lot of good chances to get a massive amount of a certain colour. That's pretty cool. But we found Brittany. Now Brittany has crash landed in this place here, which is very, very unlucky. Imagine if she had just landed anywhere else, she wouldn't be stuck and relying on Alf to free her. Like, how unlucky can you get landing there? I don't know. I'm surprised she's alive. She's not had any food for a whole day. Maybe she was eating them petals, maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. She got that space helmet on. How does she even do it? I don't know. It's a weird game. Why am I questioning that? Like, I should be questioning the little Pikmin that follow me around and copy everything I do. There we go. How did Alv even see her from there? Because there's a massive wall in his way, but oh well. This is our first fruit here, so spoiler alert, there's 66 fruits in the whole game. I'm not going to tell you where they all are, but when I get to them I will mention them, and I will tell you how to get it. So this is the first fruit, it's a strawberry, and all you need to do to get this fruit is just throw 3 Pikmin at it. Just throw 3 Pikmin, that's all you need to do, and they will carry it back to the base. Now, depending on what paths are open, the Pikmin usually carry back stuff on the fastest path. However, say if there's a wall you're breaking down, which is a faster path back to the onion, and Pikmin start carrying something before it's done, they'll still go the longer way around. They don't change halfway through even though a faster path is open. So you need to make sure that before they carry stuff back, the fastest path is open, or if that's not necessary, then just don't worry. And yeah. We've basically just got rock Pikmin. There was a little mini boss, like a jelly thing, which we killed easily. I think that's the first flying enemy we had to deal with, so it teaches you about throwing Pikmin in the air at enemies as well. And this is our first look at rock Pikmin. So, as you can tell, rock Pikmin are quite overpowered. They can break through crystal, it's really cool. And they are really nice to have with you. They have some downsides as well. They don't grab onto enemies the same way, they bounce off. So some boss fights are a bit annoying because they don't grab on, and things like Shaggy Longlegs fights are a bit annoying, but never mind, they're useful for pretty much everything else. And you may have noticed near base there was a crystal gate, and outside this cave was a crystal gate, so after we've made some more rock Pikmin we're going to go to them gates and open them up. Hope you're enjoying this episode so far. So we're going to get these pellets now, because there's loads of pellets and we can make more rocks, like that. And if we go over here, there's another pellet in this crystal. I think this is just teaching you about breaking crystals with rock Pikmin. Oh yeah, we got a strawberry. This is the first fruit that's come in. Now it'd be really annoying if it did this for every fruit, but it's just doing it for the first one to show us what to expect, what the fruit does. I believe it's called a sunseed berry, yes it is. Well, I said that as it came up, but I thought of it before it came up, so ha ha ha. That just sounded really dumb, but oh well. Yeah, we can make a full juice out of the strawberry. All the other fruits make between half a juice and 3 juices. The bigger fruits make 3, the smaller fruits do half, and all the ones in between can be any amount in between. But on average, fruits make like 1 to 1.5 juices. So keep that in mind. So there is quite a bit of pressure to collect fruit near the start to survive, but there's actually quite a lot of fruit in each area, and there's lots of easy fruits, so you don't need to worry too much about surviving. If you're going to 100% the game, then it's quite easy because you're going to be collecting all the fruit and you're going to have loads of time, so you don't even need to worry one bit. If you are just completing the game as fast as possible, ignoring a lot of fruits, then maybe you need to worry a bit, but I don't know, I never really play it like that unless I'm doing an any percent speed run. That's probably why I don't like any percent as much, because I enjoy the collecting side of this game. It's just really fun to me collecting everything. So we're going to get this data file. Now data files are not needed, but they do help because they tell you useful information about the game. And you may learn something new, so if you're interested in them then definitely pick them up. If you just want to play through the game and you don't want to 100% it, then maybe skip them, because yeah, they're useful, especially the ones near the start. There's some very useful ones near the start, and there's some that give you access to certain copad features, but other than that, you know, it's a bit pointless. So right here we're nectaring up the rock Pikmin and the red Pikmin, and now we got two types of Pikmin. We have to switch between them by using the shoulder buttons. Now, having two types of Pikmin is really simple, but once you get 5 types of Pikmin, it does get a bit annoying to switch between them all the time. Especially if there's like one and it's on the opposite side, and you have to keep pressing the shoulder button like 4 or 5 times just to get to it, but you will get used to it and you'll get faster as you play. The big thing about Pikmin is it's about just playing and understanding the controls. That's the best way to get good at this game and enjoy this game, in my opinion. So we just freed Brittany. I keep mentioning stuff like 30 seconds after it happens, but well, you can clearly see it. We got Brittany, and it teaches you that you can throw captains, because in Pikmin 2 there was 2 captains, but you could multitask in that game, but you couldn't throw captains like that. And being able to throw captains is really cool because there's loads of opportunities for puzzles, and you have to think outside of the box quite a lot. It's just a really cool feature, and when you get 3 captains, the puzzles, you can imagine what Nintendo will do for some of the puzzles, because Nintendo are really clever with a lot of their puzzles. Here we go, this is one of the most important data files you'll ever get. It's the Go Here feature. So with Go Here, it's used so much in speedruns and even in casual playthroughs. I think people use it a lot. I'll definitely be using it quite a lot in this playthrough. So all you have to do is press minus on the Pro Controller or the Joy-Con, and the map will come up, and you just have to guide where the captain will go on the map, and anywhere that's unlocked on the map that the captains can access will just go there automatically. You don't have to control them, they just walk there. So it's a really cool feature, so you can basically travel to 2 places at once. With the multitasking, it's really helpful. And we're building another bridge, so again, multitasking with the bridge piles because we got enough Pikmin to do so. Obviously that's a very important feature. Now, I've only got 22 rocks, and if you're wondering why I'm not carrying any of the pellets back to the... If you're wondering why I'm not picking anything up for the rocks, it's because the onion is quite far away, and I don't want to be having to go all the way back to the rock onion over and over just to get a few more rocks, because we got plenty of rocks for what we need to do today. Now, at the end of each Pikmin day, whenever you find a new onion, the onions will combine into one, so you don't have to worry about the onions being separated, so everyone gets to stay together. It's a small spoiler, but in Pikmin 1 and 2, all the onions are separate, and later in the game when you unlock more types, it does get a bit silly why they're all separate. I think the idea of just having one big onion is really good, and it makes a lot, because a lot of the landing sites in the earlier games had to be really big for all the onions, but in this game the landing sites are a lot smaller because you only need room for one onion. The landing site is kind of like a safe space for the Pikmin, like there's no enemies really nearby, and they'll usually be safe if they're there, and no enemies can really interrupt them, so you don't need to worry too much about that. Another feature about Pikmin is if you leave them in the ground, they can turn into Bud Pikmin, and then if you leave them for even longer, they turn into Flower Pikmin. And so the way they evolve is Leaf is like the weakest, then Bud, then Flower. Now Bud Pikmin are quite rare in this game because the only way you can get them is by leaving them in the ground, and very often I don't do that. But you may see the odd Bud Pikmin throughout this Let's Play. Oh yeah, the game is just telling you a little bit about where to go next. I really like how the game does this, and I like all the interactive cutscenes, but the one thing I don't like about it is the fact that it kind of just tells you too much on where you need to be going, and it makes the game feel a bit linear. Like in Pikmin 1, for example, it never did that. I know Pikmin 1 is a completely different game, and it was a lot more basic than this game, but it never just came up with a cutscene when you were going towards an area with like a part. I just think it's a little bit silly, but oh well. Like here, they didn't need to show you these bridge pieces. I know it's early in the game and they're teaching you about things and puzzles, but I'm glad they don't do this later on. I'm glad they just kept it early on in the game, because if it was like this throughout the whole game, it would get annoying. like seriously. So just bear with these first few days. You may be playing the game, you may have played the demo, you may think these first few days are a bit boring and a bit tutorial based, but trust me, once we get later in the game, once we get more colours, the game gets a lot more fun. Like, these first few days are my least favourite part of the game because 1, I've done it so many times, and 2, it's really easy and basic, and there isn't that much freedom to how you do things because you can't access parts, like a lot of the parts of the map. But there we go, we've thrown everyone across, and we're going to build this bridge so the other captains can get across, and we can carry stuff across the bridge from this new area we're heading into. Now, another way Pikmin days work is once you end the day, whatever time you have left doesn't roll over to the next day. Like, say if I wanted to spend half a day in Garden of Hope and the other half of the day in Tropical Wilds, I wouldn't be allowed to do that. I'd have to spend a full day there. Or I could end the day early. If I just wanted to finish the day, if I had nothing else left to do, I can do that. I just have to press end day. It's alright. I think that's good. I'd rather it did that than rolled over because it'd make the game really complicated for in-game time, but in a way it is a bit annoying on some days where you have barely anything to do. Say if you only have 1 fruit left to get and you have to do a whole new day for it, like there's nothing else you can really do on that day other than like make more Pikmin. But hopefully you'll find stuff to do. We're doing the Let's Play in 15 days like I said, so each day will be crammed with stuff to do, and we will be ending a few of the days early. I think I end this day early actually. But yeah, we'll be fine. Oh yeah, another thing to mention about this Let's Play is I record the gameplay first and then I commentate over it afterwards, so if I predict a few things, that's because I recorded the gameplay first. It's not because I'm cheating, it's just that's the way I prefer to record my videos because I find playing the game is easier and I find talking is easier. I feel like if I play and talk at the same time, my commentary is worse and my gameplay is worse, so this is just the way I do all my videos, so get used to it if you've never really done this, if you've never really listened to this kind of commentation before. So entering this first boss, he's very scary looking. He looks very, very tough, but I'll show you an easy way to kill him that only takes about a minute. The world record for this boss on defeat bosses is 18 seconds, and I actually have a tied world record with the actual world record. I know quite a few people have got it, I know quite a few Pikmin runners have got it. I think Samurai One Man was one of the first people to get it actually. It's weird, I never really knew he was into Pikmin until I saw that. I knew he ran Pikmin 2 before, but I didn't really know he was into Pikmin 3, which is interesting. But we're going to collect these data files while we're waiting for him. And it just tells you about how you can use rock Pikmin on his skin. It's quite obvious to be honest, he's made out of crystal. Like, you got a new type of Pikmin, you're obviously going to have to use that colour to fight the boss, because that's the way Nintendo games work. But I guess it's cool, it tells you about that. And the way I killed him so easily was by breaking a bit off his tail and then just swarming it with reds, because he's really weak to red Pikmin. So that's the easiest way to go about killing the boss. If you take off all his skin, it takes a long time, there's a lot more risk of losing Pikmin. It's just a lot slower in general, I don't really see the point in doing that. But he basically dropped this phone, and that's where the signal was coming from, that thing there. So we're going to carry that back, and he dropped a massive dragon fruit, which is going to give us a lot of juice. So we're going to carry that back as well. And the final thing we're going to carry back is the boss itself. And he only weighs 20 Pikmin. Someone explain this. How does he only weigh 20? To put it into perspective, a bull bear weighs 12, and he is like 4 times the size of a bull bear. Yet he only weighs 20. Like, regular bullwups weigh 10, so basically the game's saying he's only twice the size, which is not the case at all. Some of the bosses later on, there is one that weighs 10, I think, which makes more sense because of the size of it, but a lot of them weigh about 20, and they're absolutely huge. They look ridiculous when you carry them back to the Onion, because a lot of the maps are quite narrow and you see like a massive thing coming down. I used to really love watching carrying them back when I was a lot younger, when I first played Pikmin. I used to find it really funny just dragging a massive boss across the map. That's something I like about this game, with a lot of the mini bosses. I'm not really going to spoil it, but a lot of them when they die, like the whole body's still there, so you can carry them back. And some of them just look a bit ridiculous. It's really funny to this game. I love how funny this game is sometimes. There we go, we got that thing back, and technically we could end the day right now because we have unlocked a new area, but we're going to do a few more things today before we end the day, because I feel like we should, because we have plenty of time left. Here we go. And let's just analyze this thing. You can read the text if you want. Just ignore my voice, just read the text. Unless you can multitask, which is important. Multitasking is important for this game as well. It's an important life skill to have. So yeah, there we go. Alf, Brittany wants Alf to look at it because Brittany is not very technical. I guess Alf is the most technical out of them. Well, he is, because if you read the dialogue, you can see the different captains' personalities more. It's quite interesting actually, especially if you read the Piklopedia entries that they write. You can tell a lot about each character by the way they talk, and it's really interesting to hear. And with the Piklopedia, on the last episode I'll probably show off the entire filled out Piklopedia. But for now, I'm not going to go, at the end of each episode I'm not going to show all the new entries because I think that's a bit annoying. On the final episode I'll probably just show all the completed data files and all the completed fruit files and everything in one go. I'd rather do that. So let's kill these leaf bugs. I killed some wollyhops before, they're basically just frogs that can crush a Pikmin. I'm not sure if you saw that in the water, but there is like this weird slug thing in the water. I always forget what he's called. He's in Pikmin 2. But there's not really anything we can do about it because all the Pikmin will drown. We need blue Pikmin to kill him. If you played a Pikmin game before, you'll know that there's blue Pikmin. And another small spoiler, the blue Pikmin are the last colour that you gain access to. And I think that's good because then you're able to go back and access certain parts of the map that weren't accessible before because they're underwater. Let's kill that butterfly. And we're going to put our Pikmin on this gate. What is clever about underwater areas, especially when they don't want you to access them, they usually put a wall as well. So not only can your Pikmin not get in the water, but even if the captains just go there by themselves, they still can't get through because there's a wall. Because say if the captains could get through still and there was no wall, you could literally see what's on the other side and it'd spoil the game a bit and you could prepare like way early on. I just prefer that they're blocked off completely. And there we go, now the area we've just unlocked has actually got 2 fruits in there, but we're only able to get one of them now, so we might as well just save it until we're able to get both. That's the way I like to play Pikmin. I'd rather play efficiently, I'd rather come back to certain areas once I've got everything I can do in that area. But in some cases I'm the opposite, I like to do things early just for fun, or if it's something I want to show off early on. And this is basically just teaching you to whistle Pikmin, because another thing about this game, any Pikmin you leave, they will get eaten at night. If you don't whistle them, if they're not with you, they'll just get killed. So you need to make sure that they're either within the onion, within like the safe space of the onion and the ship, or they're with a captain. Because if they're not, they'll get eaten at night, even if they're like nowhere near any enemies. That's just the way this game works, it's pretty cool. Hopefully throughout this whole Let's Play I won't leave any. Now I am tempted to say that I want this Let's Play to be deathless, but I highly doubt that will happen. Now I've completed this game several times, I speedrun it several times, but I've never completed this game deathless, and for good reason, because it's a very difficult game to do deathless. Like, Pikmin can get lost everywhere later on. And there we go. Now in each area there's a different enemy that tries to eat your Pikmin. In the Garden of Hope, which is this area, there is a red Bulborb. In the Tropical Wilds it's a Whipton Bulborb. In the Distant Tundra it is a Bullbear, and in the Twilight River I think it's called, yeah, Twilight River, is an orange Bulborb. And I will not spoil the 5th area, because I don't think you're supposed to know there's a 5th area at this point. But there we go. Let's juice these fruits. So we've got Face Wrinkler, which is a lemon. I like how all these fruits have got made up names that are similar to what the fruit is in real life, like, because lemons are very sour in real life, that's why it's called a Face Wrinkler, for example. We got Sunseed Berry, which is basically a strawberry. It's pretty clever, and you could probably guess some of the names of the fruits just by the made up names. Right here we got a fire breathing feast, which is a dragon fruit. Now even though I may sound very knowledgeable on fruit, there is still a few fruits in this game I don't know the real name of, so either I'm going to look them up before we do those parts, or I will just have no clue. Probably I'll have no clue. But there we go, we get quite a lot of juice from that. We got 2.5 just from the fire breathing feast alone. So we're pretty stocked up on juice. We got just over a week's worth of juice. So we're good for a few days. We could go quite a few days without even collecting any juice and we would be safe. We're in no danger whatsoever. And we're at the end of this episode. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed day 2. I hope you found it more interesting than day 1. On day 3 we will be revisiting the tropical wilds and we will be doing a few things there. We'll be collecting a few fruits and then after that we will carry on with the main story. So I hope you enjoyed it. Like I was saying, if you liked the video please like and subscribe if you're new around here. I will be making part 3 very soon and obviously I'll make part 4 and 5 and so on. There's no schedule to this, but I'll make sure to release them all fairly soon after each other, so just be patient and enjoy. Thank you for watching and goodbye.